Hari Om, friends. Welcome to the next Bhagavad Gita lesson. Let's start by settling in with a slow, deep breath. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Shanti. This is episode number 140, called Who Says I Have to Do That? I want to spend one more week on the 8th verse of the 3rd chapter. I'll read it to you again. Therefore, Arjuna, engage in the actions that you are obliged to perform, for such action is better than so-called inaction. Even to merely sustain life in the physical body, necessary actions must be performed. So I thought of two more points that came to my mind around this idea of obligatory actions, or the ultimate karma. The first one is, we're the one who loses out. If we neglect our responsibilities, there will likely be people who are inconvenienced and even maybe suffer. But when we don't do what we're supposed to do, we're the ones who end up losing out. Escaping our responsibilities is like trying to run from the battlefield of our mind. And that was what was Arjuna's first inclination, to run from the battlefield. And Sri Krishna was very clear that this was not going to work out well for him. Those uncomfortable feelings that make us want to avoid facing what's on our plate can also be transformed into opportunities that can strengthen our spiritual muscles. Ultimately, there's no place for us to run. The opportunity is going to come after us again, but it's likely going to be in a more harsh form. The second point that came to me is that, is something obligatory or is it optional? The tricky thing about niyattam karma is that what might seem obligatory to one person might seem optional to another. Do I need to go to this meeting? Do I need to call this person back? Do I need to look after my sick mother? Do I need to share my income with others? In the end, it's our own inner voice, our conscience, as the final authority on whether we're obliged to do something or not. But this assumes that we can distinguish between the true inner voice and the voice of our conditioned mind. For example, for almost all of us, if for the father of a newborn child, we have an obligation to the mother and the child. However, Buddha felt impelled to leave the family, drawn by an even higher obligation to a larger family. For the homework assignment, take one of the roles you play in this life. Is there anything that you've considered obligatory that you could revisit and see, is it really, maybe it's really optional? Or is there anything that you take as optional that maybe you should consider as obligatory? Thanks for joining. See you next week. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.